Hello, dear listeners. I hope you had a very nice, jolly Christmas and a happy New Year. I hope you all got some much needed rest and relaxation. You got to spend time with your families and the people that you love the most. Hopefully, you got some nice gifts as well. Alright, so, progress report as promised. So, in our last video, we so I spoke about um, getting the ADHD diagnosis. Um, so what happened is, um, just to recap, I was given questionnaires to fill out. I filled out those. My friend was also given a questionnaire that he had to fill out about me. Um, so that was all sent back to the psychologist. Then I got a draft report. The draft report is so they take all this information from your from the questionnaire and from the interview that they conduct with you. You check you check the report to make sure if there is everything is correct. Check if there are no mistakes. Check if you want anything added or taken out. Um, in my case, everything was fine the way it was, so there was no need to alter it in any way. So I have to say that the person who dealt with, I'm not going to tell you who this person is, but in my opinion, they did great work, and I'm very grateful for that. But it was tough. It was very tough. Being asked all these questions about your past and how you feel one after the other for about an hour is difficult, very difficult, especially if you've had kind of painful experiences, and um, it's like it's like poking at an old wound almost, and yeah, that got under my skin. But anyway, so the report was okay, and then I needed to wait about a week for um, the company that dealt with this to type it up, make it all official, and send it back to me. So now I have it on my official medical record. So that's a good thing, as that allows me access to medication and treatment that I otherwise would not have access to. Um, More about that probably in another video. And then the day after, I um, went to see my psychiatrist. Um, and we spoke about we spoke about lots of things. So we spoke about my diagnosis and what it means, and the what are the options going forward. And one of the one of the main things was medication. So now I am in fact on medication specifically to help lessen the symptoms of my ADHD. Um, so I've only been on this medication for less than 24 hours, so it would be irresponsible of me to tell you what it's like because it's been such a short amount of time. But what I can tell you about the medicine is that um, I'm suffering no adverse effects as of now, and so far I feel okay. Um, not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but are my symptoms worse than before? Definitely not. Definitely not. They're still there, of course, but it's it makes them it makes them far less severe. Now, you, I'm guessing you probably want to know specifically what kind of medication I'm on, and I would love to tell you that, but I think for my own privacy and for my own safety, I'm not going to tell you that, not yet, until I speak to, until I take some advice, and then I'll decide, if I do, or if I don't. But anyway, a quick Google search, or um, use your favorite AI to ask what kind of medication doctors prescribe for ADHD, and you could probably very quickly figure out exactly what kind of medication I'm on. Um, so I'm on some medication specifically to deal with the ADHD. I'm also on a mood stabilizer and also medication to help me sleep as well. And sleep is a huge, huge part um, of feeling maybe not better, but just feeling as close to normal as the average person does, right? Sleep is a huge part. If you're not getting sleep, whether or not you have ADHD or any underlying conditions, this is severely damaging to your health. Um, so just being able to sleep and being able to turn off at night is amazing. Is a I can't tell you just how much I appreciate just to be able to lie down, close my eyes, and actually go to sleep, as opposed to um, tossing and turning and replaying scenarios that happened 10 or 15 years ago over and over and over again in my head. Um, that's that's a huge relief. Um, maybe you've had a similar experience. I would like to know about it if you're willing to share it, of course. If not, that's okay. Um, so one of the conversations I had with my doctor, one of the things I said was, um, how did how did anybody miss this? Right? Why am I only finding out now that I've got this thing, that I've got ADHD, right? And he said to me that just the knowledge within the medical community, and various other institutions, right, schools, yeah, mainly educational institutions, were simply not there when I was growing up. Right? I'm not that old, right? I was born in the late 80s. It's not like I'm 60. But anyway, um, so there we go. It was just a lack of knowledge, lack of availability. I know this all sounds extremely vague, and it is vague, to be honest. And I still had a bunch of other questions, but to be honest, I was so exhausted, and I was just so relieved to be um, getting this medicine that I didn't want to push too hard. Right? Maybe I should have, and maybe I will. Well, no, I definitely will in future sessions. But so I asked. This is a really important question. I asked, so what causes ADHD? And he said to me, there's not one answer, right? That's a fancy way of saying we don't know. We being the medical community. And I was like, okay, um, it's a disappointing answer, but it is an answer, whether I like it or not. Um, and I asked him what his theory was. Right? Why does he think, or what does he think causes this condition? I said, you must have a theory, right? Um, Again, his answer was very vague, but he seems to have a theory that it happens during very early brain development, right? When the very basic circuits of the brain are still developing and still making all these, neurological connections. It happens sometime there. And it could be that it's related to trauma, but that's not definite. That's not, written in stone. Nobody knows for sure. So, okay, nobody knows. Again, disappointing, um, uh, disappointing. But I guess I have to just accept that answer, as difficult as that is. Next steps: functioning with medication and navigating life. So I um, have to now figure out a way to handle this situation and figure out a way to navigate everyday life, having this condition. Uh, I don't have any. I don't have any answers. I really don't have any answers. Other than educating myself, um, talking to other people that have this condition, learning how they deal with it, and then trying to adapt that or to replicate that in my own life. Reading books from experts who talk about this kind of thing. That's something else I can do to help educate myself and to better navigate the world. Yeah. So that's that's what's happened in the last week. That's what happened in the last week. I got to say the time from the time that I made the first video and the time I'm making this second one, that time in between, that was really difficult. I didn't have any meds, right? I'm in a particularly difficult financial situation at the moment. Um, Christmas time wasn't very nice. New Year's time wasn't very nice. And I know I'm not the only one. I know that there are loads of people out there who've probably had very similar experiences to me. And I'm so sorry that people have to go through this on their own. That's another reason why I'm making these videos, right? Because although it's a way of me kind of dealing with how I feel about things, I honestly want to help people that are going through the same thing in any way I can, even if it's small, even if it's just making videos, even if it's just uh, talking to you and explaining what I'm going through. You might be able to relate in some way, and it might be reassuring to know that someone else like you is going through something very similar. yeah, so that's why I do what I do. So I hope that this video has been informative for you, and that you've got something out of it, that it is of at least some value to you. I hope so. And I think my next update will be, let's say, in a week's time, um, when the meds have had a chance to really work, and I'll tell you how I feel, the positives and the negatives, of course, any side effects, anything unexpected, I'll tell you about, and then we'll, yeah, speak again. So stay tuned to this space, everybody. Um, if you've managed to watch till the end, then thank you so much. It really helps, and it's nice to know that there are people out there who really value what I'm doing. I try to be as honest and forthcoming as possible in my videos, but I also have to protect my own privacy as well. So thank you very much, dear listeners, and have a lovely weekend. Um, be kind to yourself, and um, appreciate the people that have stuck around and helped you through these dark times. Have a lovely day.